Okay. Hello, this is Tracy Caulfield with the Cushing Chamber of Commerce, and we are here today with a U.S. representative, or well, someone who is running for the U.S. representative seat, I should clarify. And you will be on what I was thinking of is that you'll be on the ballot under the U.S. representative lineup, and you are a Republican. So tell us who you are. Who are you?
My name is Robin Carter, and it's Carder, spelled a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And I'm running for Congress against Frank Lucas. I've been involved in election integrity since the 2020 election. That's how I kind of got involved in all this. And just over the past, 3-4 years, everything I've seen, I just can't sit back and watch this anymore. Yeah. So decided after Frank Lucas voted for the 2024 NDAA, I decided to throw my hat in the ring and just, put my name out there and see what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about who you are. Have you been in this area for a while? Or?
So I live in between Manford and Sand Springs, kind of that area. And my family is actually from the Cushing area originally. My great-great-grandparents came here one side of my great-great-grandparents came here from Tennessee in the late teens. And my grandmother was born in Drumright. Her siblings were born there. My mother was born in Yale, and her siblings were educated in Oilton, along with my grandpa was too. And so we've been in this area for a long time.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's really neat.
Yep.
So what made you get into politics?
Well, it was the 2020 election. My background is I'm a CPA. And so looking at all those numbers, I was just like, there's no way President Trump lost. And so just jumped in and started I wanted to make sure that everything was kosher here in Oklahoma, and found some stuff I didn't like. And just for your viewers, if you want to have a little sampling of what we found and stuff that we can't get taken care of, go to the Oklahoma voter portal, just on your phone, just, do a Google search for that, and then go in and put your name in, and, I think you have to put your birth date in, and then see what happens. What you'll notice is that you can go in and do request an absentee ballot with just your driver's license number, and you're able to get that. Now, I don't know about you, but the DMV has probably been hacked I don't know how many times.
Right.
Plus, that data is in the voter registration system.
Right.
So, that's an issue. They don't even have a CAPTCHA on that, the little, where you put how many bicycles, or, pick the bicycles out of the crosswalks. They don't even have that in there. So it's very easily hacked. Yeah. So we can't even get them to address that issue.
Oh my goodness. Well, what are some other things why you decided to run for the U.S. representative seat?
So the inflation is just unbearable right now. My kids are out there. And you're probably like me, and probably all your viewers are like me. Hurt me, I don't care. But when you hurt my kids, I'm very angry. I've got a daughter who's in medical school in a state that's the gas is over $6 a gallon, so she's really struggling. And when your kid calls and they're like, you're crushed because you help them as much as you can, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, the inflation is just horrible right now. Our spending is out of control. We're now spending more than our military budget on interest on our debt. And that's going to get worse as we go forward, because every month the U.S. Treasury refinances the T-notes. And so those are 10-year T-notes. So 10 years ago, the interest rate was close to zero for those notes. Right. Now, when they reissue them, they're 4%. So you're going from 0 to 4% on trillions of dollars. So that interest expense starts adding up. And as we go forward, that interest rate, as those T-bills become due and we refinance them, that interest rate is just going to get worse and worse. And your viewers probably remember back in the late 70s, early 80s, when interest rates were so high, I can remember paying 17% on a used car.
Yeah.
So those days are probably coming again. Just that's the only way to kill the inflation.
Right.
So that's something that I want to work on. We need to start recouping some of the money that we spent on COVID. And I want to reference back to the 70s and 80s again, but everyone here will probably remember the windfall profit tax that was on oil companies. We need to do the same with all these companies that took COVID. Today, I just read a story that came out today. The federal government paid Walgreens and CVS billions of dollars in 2020 to keep them from prescribing ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. So if that alone should tell you that those two things worked and they knew it.
Yeah.
So I'm very angry about that. We're in a war, whether people realize it or not. Over the past 4 years, we've lost more Americans to fentanyl, the vaccine itself, COVID, than we lost in the 20th century from all the wars. So people need to wake up. Frank Lucas has been there for 30 years. He's been behind all of this. All of this stuff has happened. I mean, you look at Epstein started with when Clinton was there, and that's when Frank Lucas first took office was in 1993. So all of that Epstein stuff happened on his watch. So we've got some cleanup to do, and he's got to go.
Absolutely. And again, just to remind everyone, the June 18th election is coming up soon, the primaries, and Rowan will be on the ballot for the Republican Party. Tell us a little bit more about what your campaign
So
is about.
my background from work is I worked in healthcare finance for my entire career. So I worked at a hospital for a short time, but then I worked at some managed care organizations, so Aetna, United, those groups.
Yeah.
And part of what I was the director of finance in Texas for Aetna, and was over the Obamacare rollout down there, and it was horrible. And so that Obamacare is destroying our healthcare system, and I want to help Trump get it repealed and replaced with a free market system. And that's going to help bring down inflation as well, because get the costs under control for healthcare, and I think that'll help a little bit.
Yeah. What do you because we are the Chamber of Commerce, so our number one thing is pro-business legislation. That's our big thing. So what is your take on some things that you feel would? How do you feel about business legislation?
I believe in the free market system, that we need to really embrace that. That's how this country got to where it is in the beginning. And I think the boot of the federal government has been on our necks for a really long time. Yeah. And I think it's just now, people are just now starting to wake up and realize what they've done. I mean, if you look at, we're paying so much in taxes that it's hurting industry everywhere.
Oh yeah.
I'm a drill baby drill kind of girl, and I want just the floodgates open. I want us to be energy independent, and I know that's a big thing here, but it's very important for our national security. And Cushing is such a big part of our national security. This is just an important area of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you say? I know this is more of a state issue, but I kind of want to know your opinion on it.
Okay.
We have question 832, which is about the possibility of raising the minimum wage. And, that's kind of a ripple effect throughout the U.S. right now. And it's weird that it's not more in the federal spotlight,
right?
I would think, but it is a state to state question, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think that, anytime you raise the minimum wage, you're going to hurt the lower end workers more than anybody. What I kind of discovered over these past few years of researching and going down rabbit holes, in 1962, the minimum wage was $1.25. But that $1.25 was paid with 5 silver quarters. So today, this price of silver has gone up in the past few days, incredibly. But those same 5 quarters today are worth over $30. So that's what they've done to the middle class by taking us off the gold standard. And I know that Trump, he's got some people in mind for the Treasury Department, and they've written extensively about returning us to the gold standard. And one thing I didn't know until I'd done all this research was President Nixon, when he took us off the gold standard in 1971, it was with an executive order. So all it's going to take for President Trump to put us back on is, his signature.
Right.
But it's a little bit more complicated than that to do this. So I think it's going to have to be thoughtful. And I think, I don't know how it's going to work, but I believe that's coming.
Right.
And I want to support him to get that done.
Right.
It's very important in national security, and it'll help the lower end workers, because what's happened is all those wages have gone to the top.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of just briefly, we all know that with Trump, he is very much in oil and gas. That,
Right.
moving that forward.
Right.
He tried to help us with the Keystone Pipeline and some other things, and some of those things got moving, during his time. And because we are the pipeline crossroads of the world, can you tell us a little bit more about how you feel about that, about the energy industry, our oil and gas, and things of that nature, where you think we're headed?
Well, if we don't stop what's going on in Washington, we're headed down a really bad path.
Right.
I mean, I thought it was I didn't think it was real when they said we're going to get rid of fossil fuels, but I mean, clearly that's their goal. And so we've got to stop them. My position on this is we need full energy dominance of every sector, oil and gas, wind, solar. But I want to qualify the solar statement. I don't believe solar should be done here in Oklahoma with the large solar farms. I think that our weather is just too volatile to have that here, and we just risk environmental damage if we do that. So I'm against expanding the solar farms. I mean, if you want to have one on your house, go for it, but I don't think we should have these thousands of acres of solar farms. They're trying to put one in Enid, and probably a lot of people know that, but I'm against the solar farms. The windmills, I mean, if people want those on their property, I wouldn't do it, but I mean, if they want to do it, I think it's fine.
So just to kind of wrap it up a little bit, is there anything else that you would like to mention to the viewers?
I do. So last primary in 2022, only about 30% of people showed up. And I want people to understand that if you want to say in this election, you need to show up on June 18th and make your voice heard, because there won't be a general election for this race.
Right.
There is no Democrat in this race. So you need to get out and vote and, decide who the best candidate is that has your views in mind. I'm the most conservative candidate in this race. So if that's your viewpoint, if you want a conservative voice in Washington to represent you, I'm the choice.
All right. Yeah, we are actually, we're reminding people about voter registration. Voter registration to be able to vote in the June 18th primary is this Friday, May 24th. So we have voter registration forms here at the chamber office. You can also, of course, go online to the Oklahoma Election Board and register to vote that way if you'd rather do it online. But if you choose to do it via hard copy, you can come into the chamber and we will mail that off for you. We will do it right here, tape it up, put a stamp on it, and put it in our outbox. And if it's the day of Friday, we'll make sure to take it to the post office and get it postmarked for you, stating that it's May 24th that you turn that in. So it's vitally important that we get out and vote. How can people get a hold of you? How can people touch base?
Through my website, just reach out. There's a tab for contact. Just reach out and we'll get back to you.
Awesome. Okay. And we will put a link to her website at the top of this post, so you'll be able to easily access that. Is there any kind of anywhere else besides the website? Do you have a Facebook page?
I do have Facebook. That's Vote for Robin Carter. I'm also on Twitter, Robin4 and the number 4 OK and the number 3. That's Robin4OK3.
Okay. And I also noticed your vehicle. You cannot miss her. On that beautiful Lexus, you put that, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah, that was
really
my husband's idea. I was like, I don't know.
Right.
It's a little weird driving down the road with that on there.
I bet, but you can't miss it,
right.
And you know exactly who you are and what you're doing.
Yep.
So, well, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for having me here.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate this, and just great to be here. And I always look forward to coming back to this area and seeing things. So.
Yeah, and getting back home.
Oh,
to your
absolutely.
hometown
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Being home always makes you feel
better,
doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Memories and everything. So,
yes, absolutely. Well, thanks again,
thank
Robin.
you, Tracy.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. And that's it. See, that was painless, wasn't it? I am not